Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today we are getting into another season. We are really flying through 2021. We are in the last quarter of the year and we are in Libra season, okay? We had to get our act together in Virgo season. We had to dive in, focus, get organized, really think through the details. And now Libra season is here to help us bring in some more balance. The thing about Virgo energy, which is wonderful in its own right, is that it allows you to really dive deep, really to concentrate, really get focused. But you can't stay stuck in that energy if you just are in the mind, in your head, and in one particular thing. You kind of miss everything that is going on around you. And Libra season pulls us out of that energy so that we can take notice of what's around us, so that we can bring in balance in that manner. So it's really a lot more so externally focused, where it's more so calling in our relationships, people around us, the things going on around us. It's calling our attention to that versus like what's within, what's in the mind, diving into something very specific. So that's the contrast between Virgo and Libra season, but they work well, and I can see why Virgo season then leads into Libra season, because some of the balancing, the recalibrating starts in Virgo season, especially with that mind and body connection, bringing in balance there, and then moving into Libra season to then start seeing the things outside, or balancing the things outside of self. So it's within the self and outside of the self, so to speak. So this Libra season is going to be really, really interesting, because when the sun moves into the sign of Libra, it's usually highlighting all things, you know, again, balance, fairness, justice, harmony, peace. These are the big traits that Libra energy is known for, okay? And balance and harmony, not just within, you know, relationships or people, but also balance and harmony aesthetically, because you know, Libra is the masculine expression of Venus's energy, which means it's very externally focused. So it's really about, again, that's why it's about the external relationships, but it's also about the visual, the aesthetic. So that's why Libra is definitely one of the biggest energies that rules over the arts and things that are aesthetically pleasing, like beauty and fashion and design and all of those good things. But then it's also really big into the things that are kind of the opposite of that, right? Which are, you know, the things that matter in terms of justice and fairness and law. And, you know, you see a lot of people who are really immersed in the legal field and that type of work having a lot of big Libra energy in their chart. So those are the traits of a Libra season. And if I fail to mention, Libra season is going to be from September 22nd to October 23rd. I'm not sure if I mentioned the dates already, but I didn't want to leave that out, okay? So Libra season, again, is about that fight for justice. It's about evening the scales. It's also about bringing people together, because it's very social energy. It's very harmonious energy. It's always seeking to find common consensus among the people so that everybody can be good, everybody can be happy, right? The other side of this energy is that because it is such a people loving, people pleasing energy, it can get into this place of being passive, and also just really dependent on others. It can also be very surface or shallow, because again, a lot of the times it is about that aesthetic. It is about the look. It is about how it appears, not necessarily what is beneath the surface of it. So those are the other qualities of that Libra energy that we have to definitely watch for. This Libra season, I say, is going to be interesting, because while Libra season is usually the one that brings in the peace, the harmony, the, you know, like, let's all just be social and let's all get along and let's all have a good time, there are a lot of things going on here that are really pushing us in Libra season not to fall into that passive aggressive energy, but more kind of like, I would say, agitating us to actually do something. It's more on the fight side, that fight for justice side. Two of the biggest things going on when the sun is moved into Libra is that it's going to be opposing Chiron in Aries. And Chiron in Aries is the wounded healer. It is about our deepest wounds, okay, in this lifetime that we're working through. And in Aries, it really ties to a lot of self-identity wounds, and wounds around our independence, our freedom, and stuff like that. So a lot of wounds and unresolved traumas can come up or be stimulated during this time, okay? So things that are rooted in our personal identity, things that are rooted in maybe our selfishness, our selfish qualities or traits, or anything that has to do with the self and how we self-preserve or anything like that is definitely, or self-identify, that is something that can be coming up during this time. So that can be quite uncomfortable. Another thing that is happening transit-wise when the sun is in Libra is going to be squaring, having conflict with Pluto in Capricorn, okay? This is doubling down on the increased need for control, not necessarily in your own personal life, but just in general, right? So we do know what's going on in the world, we do see what's going on around us, and this is increasing that need for control. This also triggers conflict with authorities, or people in authority, people in power. So I think we're going to start to see a little bit more taking place during this time. And then intense events that are triggered by this communication between Pluto and the sun can lead to extreme behaviors within individuals. So that's what I'm saying, it's going to be more of an agitator than a peaceful ride this time, okay? The one really, really good transit that is coming out of the sun being in Libra is that it's going to be trining Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, okay, which is a fellow air sign. So there's a very harmonious, synergistic type of energy going on here. So this is going to add some optimism and some achievement or some success into the mix. So if the energy is funneled into the right place and focused in a positive way, then there can be some really good things that come out of it. But there is still a lot of conflict and opposing forces that are at play here as well, okay? Mars and Pluto and Mercury are very active. So this is just going to be more of an, I think it's more of an agitation so that you can do something, right? So that things are happening. So that is when the sun moves into Libra, and those are the transits that are going to be happening with that Libra sun. Now, on September 22nd, the same day that the sun moves into Libra, we're going to have a Cardinal T-Square. And when I say a Cardinal T-Square, a T-Square is an aspect that just kind of brings it highlights a struggle or a tension in a particular action that needs to be taken place, something that needs action or attention, okay? And when I say it's a Cardinal T-Square, this is happening in the cardinal signs, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries. So we have Pluto in Capricorn. That's one of the major players. We have Mercury in Libra, which is the other cardinal sign, and we have the moon in Aries on this day, okay? So the moon in Aries here, it gets fired up emotionally, gets triggered and fired up and impulsive and wants to do something, especially when independence is a threat. When your independence is threatened, then moon in Aries wants to like, let's get it popping. It's that pop energy, okay? So when that threat to freedom and independence comes in, that's what moon in Aries wants to do. On the other aspect, when I say the T-Square, it's like that tension, right? The other aspect is that we have Mercury and Libra in play. Now, this is more of a diplomatic, let's just all get along energy, in terms of I want to do what's best in terms of not fanning the flame. So you got moon in Aries that's ready to start the fire. You got Mercury in Libra that just wants to make everyone happy. So, I'm just gonna put whatever my feelings are on the back burner because I just want to make sure everyone is happy and I don't want to fan the flames. And then you have the focal point, which is Pluto in Capricorn here, which is about government control and power and transformation of that. Now, the challenge with these three at play, that tension that is calling action or something to be addressed, is that we have to get the energies to work together. How do you get the balance of that moon and Aries fire energy wanting to pop off and get things started, that Mercury and Libra wanting to, like, you know what, it's not worth the fight, and actually get them to work together towards this issue, right? This issue of government control, power, and transformation of that, okay? So that is definitely something to keep in mind, especially because we're going to see these energies playing out through Libra season, right? The next thing that I wanted to bring to your attention was on September 25th. There's going to be a grand trine. So this is just a really good flow of energy in the air signs, okay? So we've got Saturn in Aquarius, okay? We've got Mars in Libra, and we've got Lilith in Gemini, okay? So these signs or these planets are coming together in these air signs for a common cause. They are, you know, getting along. They're like, yes, let's just exchange. We're gonna push something forward here, okay? So Lilith in Gemini is really about intellectual freedom, the right to be a free thinker, okay, and needs that independence, needs that freedom to be able to do that, okay? Saturn in Aquarius is really about utilizing intellect and bringing structure to that, okay, by using the mind towards working towards solutions. I'm getting tongue-tied. Working towards solutions that are generating positive change and innovation, okay? So Saturn in Aquarius wants to put some structure to it. Let's get to work and let's make this happen. Then we have Mars in Libra, which is really action oriented, but that action is concentrated for fighting for justice. So the three of these planets and these energies are getting together and they're trying to move a cause forward, okay? The one thing is, and the cause forward is bringing change, but bringing in positive change that is beneficial to all, right? The only thing that is a problem in this whole mix is that we have an opposition with Chiron that is present, right? That is triggering the personal wounds around one's sense of independence. So we still have to fight through those feelings, even though there's this positive energy of these planets coming together to push this change forward. We always have to kind of constantly come back to the inner checking of the wounds and making sure that that's not flaring things up or putting us in a direction that we don't need to go in, okay? This energy is also going to be showing up for the Libra new moon, so I wanted to highlight this as well, okay? On September 27th, Mercury stations to go retrograde, all right? And Mercury's going to be retrograde until October 17th, okay? Yeah, this is one of several planets that are going to be moving through Libra season. So this retrograde is, again, in the sign of Libra. And what's happening here, it's going to be retracing, backing up, retracing its steps on what was previously missed, okay? So this is like, in terms of like, if you have to take your contract back out and you want to go over the fine print, like the little tiny print that you missed the first time that you was skimming over the contract, this is the time that you're reading over that fine print, okay? So when you have a retrograde, a Mercury retrograde in an air sign, Mercury is all about communication, right? But air is all about communication. And so this is really about communication and information, I should say. Communication and information, okay? So this is in Libra, this Mercury retrograde in Libra is really giving you a chance to go back and right some wrongs. This is about old issues, old things that are coming back up to readdress that. So this could be old relationships. So yes, you talk about those Mercury retrograde memes where they talk about your exes are coming back into the mix with Libra, because it is all about a relationship focused also energy about outside of the self, which is other people. You can see other people coming back into your life, old relationships re-emerging, old wounds re-emerging, old issues, information that you previously missed the first time. All of these things and things that were wrong, or decisions and stuff that was made that was, you know, wrong the first time, getting a chance to go back and make those things right, okay? So this is actually, it's uncomfortable, but it's allowing you to resolve a lot of problems and bring closure to a lot of areas, okay? This Mercury retrograde will be squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So this is also giving us a chance, when I talk about that information piece, to go to dig deeper in terms of our thinking and investigating things. This is great energy for uncovering the truth. So talking about going back and trying to figure out things that you previously missed, this is good for that. The only thing is that this can trigger extreme events and circumstances that could challenge your thinking, and others can be very extreme in expressing their own thoughts, opinions, and views, and we can kind of already get a taste of that happening now, but it might get even more crazier with this energy at play. The good thing is that this is going to also have a trine with Jupiter, which is a really good flow with Jupiter in Aquarius. So this is going to give us great intellectual power, focus, and influence. So talk about trying to put together the pieces. This is going to get you aligned and focused and put your mind in the right place to do that. It's going to give you deep understanding, and it's going to help you study and research where you need to, okay? So that is on September 27th. Moving into October 6th, we have the Libra New Moon, okay? And that's going to be happening at 14 degrees. Ooh, interesting. So this Libra New Moon is also another interesting one, because that Grand Trine, I told you, that energy of the Grand Trine is going to be flowing into this. And that activation of the Grand Trine that we talked about is going to be having, this Libra New Moon is going to be having an exact conjunction with Mars. That's what's activating that. Also, it's going to be opposite Chiron and Aries, okay? So there's a lot going on here. And on that day, Pluto, who has been retrograde since April 27th, is also going to be turning direct on that day. And whenever a planet is stationing to turn direct or stationing to go retrograde, the energies are more concentrated and more powerful and more potent, because that planet is just still, right? So there's a lot going on with that new moon. I'll have a whole video to drop all the details about that, but make sure you're subscribed and you tune into that video, okay? So that'll be coming later. Now, moving on to October 7th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Sagittarius. And there are two things that Venus in Sagittarius needs above all else. So one, the truth, okay? And two, the need for freedom and the need to explore. And this is in terms of relationships and love, in terms of your own self values, creativity. These are the two things that Venus in Sagittarius needs above all else, okay? Just remember that, the truth and the freedom to explore. All right, so this is a lot of the energy that Venus in Sagittarius is going to be taking on. It's going to also be trining Chiron in Aries. So it's even though the trine is a harmonious exchange of energy going on here, what happens is that past insecurities can be resurfacing, but it's resurfacing for healing within your relationships, okay? And those past insecurities, unresolved wounds, can really also, on the same token, trigger some of your relationships, or you can sabotage or add tension to some of your relationships, okay? So independence and freedom are likely to be the issue around a lot of these unresolved wounds and different things that are coming up. And that's especially true because this Venus in Sagittarius is also going to be opposite Lilith, okay? And Lilith is currently in the sign of Gemini. So yeah, Lilith is one that is that energy that, you know, can be wild, can be rambunctious, can be rebellious if is not given the space to just be to just be and have what she needs, right? So that is a lot that can be happening there. So again, that need for freedom, exploration, being able to be free in a lot of ways is kind of that common theme that is coming up here. The Venus in Sagittarius is also going to be conjuncting or blending its energy with the South Node. This is very karmic in nature. So this is also, you might be reliving again or having lessons that you didn't, you know, completely learn come back up, and things that, again, issues and stuff coming back up so that you can learn those lessons, release and resolve, and let go. So there's a lot of karmic energy that can be popping up with this. So a lot of unresolved things are coming back up in Libra season. Now, moving on to October 18th, we have Mercury and Jupiter on the same day. They're both stationing to go direct. So we're gonna have a super concentration of those two energies on this day, because they're going to be standing still, right? So here's the thing to know about this. Jupiter, who's stationed direct on this day, will be in an exact sextile with Mars. This is a really tight aspect, okay? So what this is giving us here is the courage to take action towards things, and action that leads to success. So this is actually a positive influence of its energy. Mercury on this day, that is also stationing direct, is going to be exactly opposite Chiron. Okay, so this is going to cause us to be in a space where we can make very emotional based decisions or have emotional based reactions, because we're likely triggered by some deep insecurity, something that's unresolved, or something that's festering beneath the surface. So while there is this good thing, there is can also be this very detrimental thing. So it's just got to balance and watch out for both, or keep in mind both of these energies. And then wrapping up Libra season on October 20th, we have the Aries full moon. The Aries full moon, this is also another video where I'm going to just give you an entirely, separate breakdown, but we're gonna have opposition with Mars, we're gonna have tension with Pluto, and then we're gonna have some good influence from Jupiter in the mix. So like I said, Mars and Pluto are super active this season, and Mars and Pluto are all about action and power and control, right? And so we are gonna see a lot of this come up through the season. So the recap here is that Chiron, Pluto and Mars are very active, so there's going to be a lot of triggers, but it's a lot of triggers for healing, it's a lot of triggers for change, it's a lot of triggers to take action, okay? So while Libra season tends to be known to bring that harmony and that passivity and just kind of like going with the flow and making everybody happy and people pleasing, this one is not really about that. It's really forcing you to take a stance and to move in a particular direction and to fight for what's right, okay? So the herbs that I would recommend you working with, well, actually, the herb that I would recommend you working with this Libra season is flowers, any type of flowers. Rose is a good flower, hibiscus is a good flower, passion flower. There are so many flowers I would definitely work with during Libra season. I also have the Libra Moon Tea, which I will link down in the description box if you want to work with that during the season. That is also great. You don't have to just drink the herbs. You can use it in your rituals and your candles and oils, and you can do all kinds of things with herbs or herbs, right? You can use them for a multitude of things. And then the crystal that I would recommend you working with is rose quartz, okay? So Libra, gang, where are my people celebrating their solar return during Libra season? Leave your solar return dates down below so we can shout you out. I will see you all in the next video. If you need more information on Mercury retrograde and how it's going to affect you personally, please go on ahead and also check out that Mercury retrograde video through the houses, and that will break down and make it a little bit more apparent of what you can expect personally depending on where Mercury is going to be falling or retrograding in your chart, okay? So I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one. Peace. you.